Hello and welcome. In this new video, we are going to see how you can set up TLS for your AppFlowy Cloud. If you haven't watched our video of how to set up external Nginx, then please watch that before watching this video. So let's get started. So now to set up TLS, we are once again back on the official AppFlowy documentation site. And here we have to make sure if all our prerequisites are done. So we have a valid domain name. We have a public server with Docker and Docker Compose installed. And we do use a Linux-based system, so we use Ubuntu. And your domain's A record points to your server's public IP. This is also done. Now the next step is to expose the port 80 and 443 through our firewall security group. So to do this, what we can do is we can come in our machine and here check if you have UFW, which is nothing but Ubuntu firewall. If you don't have it, then install it. So here you can see it's installing it. Let's wait. Yeah, clear this up. Once you have installed it, you have to enable it. Command may disrupt connections. Yes, firewall is active and enabled. Okay, on system startup. Perfect. So now what we have to do is we have to expose a bunch of ports. So first port we are going to expose is the SSH port. This is very important because then otherwise we will lose access to our own machine, right? So we do this, the rule is added. Then the next step is to, from here also we can take allow HTTPS. So this is what we want to do. We want to allow the port 80 and 443, right? We want to do this. Both of them are added as well. And then deny the AppFlowy internal ports as well, which we have published to them. So now these ports are unreachable, but they're still accessible from the local host. So Nginx will be able to actually access them. Now we can reload and check the status. So here you can see that the port SSH is open. It's open from anywhere. We can change this, to use your organization's IP address or something like that. Then port 80 is accessible from anywhere. Port 443 is also accessible from anywhere. The ports such as 8000, 8080, 3000 and 999 are all denied from anywhere. Okay. And this is for IPv6. So IPv4 settings are here and IPv6 are here. So by completing that guide, okay, if you haven't completed the Nginx proxy, we have already done this, right? So this also we have done. We have forwarded all the HTTP traffic to the AppFlowy internal services. And we have set it up all the routes and headers as well. Our AppFlowy services should now be reachable. They are reachable on this domain. Yes, we just previously saw. Once the setup is done, continue with installing Certbot. So basically, how TLS, what is TLS? TLS is nothing but transport layer security, right? It provides, security over the HTTP protocol, right? And that is why it is called HTTPS. S means secure. For that, we need a certificate. So what we can do is we can install the Certbot for that and it will generate a certificate. To install the Certbot and the Nginx plugin for that. So we'll go here. I want to go to the root and from here I can paste these commands. Let's wait. That is done. Now, the next step is to obtain TLS certificate with Let's Encrypt. So run this command. This command actually will automatically modify our site's configuration file actually. Is my assumption. Let's see. And make sure to replace the example with your current domain. Okay. We'll clear this first. A certificate for AppFlowy mayurmahajan.com. So now Let's Encrypt is a foundation which will verify that, and it will issue a certificate for. So I think everything is correct. Certificate is saved. The key is saved. The expiration is in the month of March, April this year. And after that, we can renew it automatically. Okay. So that's, here is the main part. It says deploy the certificate for appflowy.mayurmahajan.com to our sites enabled AppFlowy configuration file, right? So you have successfully enabled HTTPS. Now you can actually hit on this URL. So that's amazing. Let's see what are the next steps. It says open the Nginx config file, update it to include SSL configuration. Please replace with your domain name. Okay. So let's complete this step as well. Let me copy this path, and then inside my virtual machine, I can CD to that path. Now, you might be wondering why we are updating the sites available Nginx configuration file when previously, when we ran the certbot command, it told us that we can directly access our HTTPS. Now, this is important because right now, Certbot has made changes to our sites enabled directory, but our sites available still contains the old Nginx configuration file. And if we were to reload our Nginx, then it will again overwrite the changes that are made by Certbot, and it will load the configuration file from the sites available directory, right? So that is why we have to enter here, and we have to make changes to our AppFlowy configuration file. So here you can see there is nothing that is managed by Certbot. Everything here is old, So I will copy this and I will paste all of this in my Visual Studio Code. So I will create a new file. Now what we have to do is we have to follow these steps. So we have to, first of all, add this server block, which is the HTTP server block, which will redirect all the traffic that comes on the port 80, and it will redirect all of it to port 443, right? It will redirect it to HTTPS basically. And it will also use the 301 HTTP status code, which is the standard redirection status code. Okay. So let's copy this server block here. And here, yeah. So now it is pasted. We have to replace the domain name with the domain, right? Make sure you replace all the domain name instances with your correct domain name, right? That seems to be done. Then the next step is to make sure that the HTTPS block or the 443 block does not contain any other redirections. So in this other block that I have, first of all, you should only have two server blocks, right? One is to handle the traffic for port 80 and the other is to handle the traffic for port 443. Okay. So here is what is missing in this. So the port number is missing and the server name is also missing. Oh, and this is also, all these 4 lines are missing. If we paste them, get rid of this line here. And now everything seems correct, but we have to replace this domain name as well. Is the domain name with the actual domain name, right? All the changes are made. Now you can see this server block is to handle traffic on the port 443, which is the SSL port. The name of the server is clearly mentioned. Now one more thing that I want to do is I want to copy these 3 lines, not just all 3 of them, but just this one line, which is this line. Set header X forwarded proto and is HTTPS. So this tells all the locations that the scheme to be used is going to be HTTPS, right? So I'm going to add that here. This line is already inside our menu. If I were to do this, it is here, it is inside the menu API, it is inside the menu as well. And I think it is inside the API as well. Is it not? Now finally it's in the WebSocket, and let's add it go to line as well. I've added it here as well. So now everything has that line. This can still stay as HTTP because this is going to be the Docker's environment port, so that is fine. Now, one last thing that I want to do is I want to set at this line, which will stop all the redirection from the AppFlowy web path as well. Okay. So I'll save this. I'll copy all the content of this file. I will go inside the terminal, and once inside the terminal, I have to edit. We'll say sudo vim appflowy. Then from here, I can press D, shift G to get rid of all the file content, and then I can paste the copied changes, right? So you see the set header proto X forwarded proto scheme is that header is added. Redirect is set to off. There are now 2 server blocks instead of 1, and we are clearly defining our domain name here everywhere, and we are listening on port 443. Okay, so this is the sites enabled folder now. And because why we did this is because every time we reload our Nginx, now Nginx will take this configuration and it will put it inside the site enabled, right? So let's save this file. Now let's test. Let's test and reload. So you see the syntax is correct and everything is successful. It has reloaded as well. Perfect. Now the next step is highly recommended. It is optional, but it is highly recommended. When we ran the command, it said our certificate will expire, right? So to auto renew the certificate, we can set up a cron job. By default, a cron job must have already been set up in our system because newer operating systems do that. But if it is not set up, then you can follow the other steps. So right now you can see and Certbot services already. So let's see what they say. Ensure Certbot auto renewal is set via cron. So this will list all the timers. So you can see there is one valid timer is there, which is the Certbot service, the Certbot timer. And so we don't have to run these 2 next commands, okay? Because this is for adding that, so we don't need that. So everything seems correct here. Now one more thing that we have to do inside this is we have to edit our .env file. But our .env file still has the HTTP as our scheme, and the WebSocket scheme is also HTTPS. But since we are using TLS, we have to change that to HTTPS and WSS. Okay. So let's go to that folder. And paste it here. Get rid of this line. Get rid of the first line, first few lines as well. Now you can see the scheme is still HTTP and the WebSocket scheme is still WS. And here only there is a comment which says change this to HTTPS if you are using TLS, right? So we will change this to the correct scheme. Okay, now everything will be referred from here, so we don't have to make any more changes, right? So we can simply copy this file, come back here. I will do sudo vim.env. Then we can go to the first line. From the first line, I want to press D and shift G to get rid of all the file content. Now I can paste the new content as well. And if I scroll up, you can see the new changes are in effect. So scheme is HTTPS and WS scheme is WSS. Okay, perfect. So now we will save this file. So everything seems correct. Now one more thing we want to check is if upon reloading the file, whether proper changes were made to the sites enabled or not. Let's go inside the sites enabled. Yes. And from here we can do cat appflowy. Take that file. You can see the forwarded proto headers are also added. You can see that the redirect off is also set here. And you can see 2 server blocks are there. And all the changes that were made by Certbot inside this file are now overwritten by all the changes that we made inside the sites available configuration file. Okay. Yeah. So everything seems correct. Now we just have to start all our processes and check if everything is running perfectly or not. So again, I will go in the AppFlowy Cloud folder. And I think my Docker services are actually running. I should first pick them up, take them down. One goes down. It should not affect them, by the way. Perfect. So all the containers are removed. We'll start them. So everything seems to be running and everything seems to be healthy. Let's check once again with Docker PA. And yeah, everything seems to be correct. Ports are exposed correctly. And yeah, so now time to test our setup. Let's hit our AppFlowy with HTTPS of HTTP. And it's taking a little bit of time. So let's wait. Oh, it says Safari. Too many redirects occurred. This might occur if you open a page that is redirected to another page, which then is redirected to the original page. Something is clearly wrong. So I have found the reason why we were getting too many redirects error in our browser. It is because we when we set it up the DNS record for this domain, if we check the DNS record, initially we had set the proxy status as proxied. So after a lot of debugging, I found out that because it is proxied here, it was redirecting the requests. So all the HTTPS requests which we were sending from our browser were proxied to Cloudflare, and Cloudflare was transferring it as HTTP to our server. So you can see because of this, it was causing too many redirection issue. So to fix that, what we have to do is now if you're using some other domain provider or you did not already set this as proxied, then you must be able to access your server on the HTTPS scheme with the set it up configured domain name, right? But in our case, and if you have been following me, then the thing is we have to make this DNS only, the proxy status, and it's very easy. You just have to click here, edit, and here you have to toggle this, right? And then you can save it, right? So that is the case in here. And then what I want you to do is go in the SSL TLS menu, side menu block, click the overview button. And here you can configure the SSL TLS encryption, right? So you have to click this configure button. And in here, by default, flexible is selected. So what it reads, let me read this out. Enable encryption only between your visitors and Cloudflare. This will avoid browser security warnings, but all connection between Cloudflare and your origin are made through HTTP. So this is the browser, this is the Cloudflare server, and this is origin server. So even if because this was selected by default, even if we made an HTTPS request, Cloudflare will send it as an HTTP request to our origin server. That is what it meant. So what you have to do is you can use full also, but if you need WebSockets in later configurations for AppFlowy, then full strict is actually the best way to do it, best way to configure it. So all you have to do is come here and save this. So it will be saved, and you can see it is saved like this. And then what you have to do is you have to go in your edge certificates as well. And here you have to kind of say this, kind of toggle it off, this setting. So basically, why we are toggling this off? Because we are already handling this HTTP to HTTPS redirection in our Nginx server block, right? Nginx configuration. So that's why we have to disable this. One more thing that we have to disable is this. Allow automatic HTTP rewrites helps fixed mixed content by changing HTTP to HTTPS. So this also we have, and you can see I have only a half hour ago I have toggled it off. Everything else is fine. One more thing you might want to do is you want to go in the network option, and here you want to enable the WebSockets, right? Right now we are not going to use it, but in the future you might have to use it. And once all these settings are done, and after let's say 5 or 10 minutes, because these settings take a little bit of time to actually work, you can actually access your AppFlowy by hitting the HTTPS URL. So I will hit the HTTPS URL in my Safari browser. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, I'm redirected to app, and then I'm redirected to login.